Greetings and welcome to the channel, Northworthy Sagas and Stories. Oh yes, I'm your host for the day. I am Braggy. Now today I've got something new for the channel. It is folk tale and folklore related. And we do love a good story on the channel. So you're going to be entertained for a few minutes. You're going to hear a very old story and poem which I'm going to read to you. And I just find these poems fascinating. I'm taking it from one of my favourite books, and this is a tale that was and a poem that was recorded back in the 19th century. But I like to think that these poems and these folk tales go back much further in history. And why is that? It's because a lot of these stories, a lot of these folk tales, fables, fairy tales and poems were passed down from one generation to the other. And we've been doing that for thousands of years since we learnt the ability to talk, since we learnt the ability to tell a story. And I love stories. And yes, I could try to remember these and remember them and tell them to you, but that's just not going to happen with my brain. So today I'm going to read you two versions of The False Knight Upon the Road. And this was recorded in this book by Catherine Briggs. But it goes way further back into story. And some say this is a Scottish poem and some say it's more of an English poem. But I'll let you decide for that. So The False Knight Upon the Road. Oh, where are you going? Crew the false knight upon the road. And going to the skill. Kill the wee boy, and still he stood. What is that upon your back? Crow the false knight upon the road. At wheel, it is my books. Cue the wee boy, and still he stood, or stewed. What's that you got in your arm? Crew, said the false knight, upon the road. At wheel, it is my pet, or piet. Cue the wee boy, and still he stood. What's ox the shy sheep? Cue the false knight upon the road. They are mine, and with my mither, or mother. Cue the wee boy, and still he stood, or stood. How money? Oh, them are mine. Cue the false knight upon the road. Hey, they are that hail blue tails. Cue the wee boy, and still he stood. I wish you were on the tree. Cue the false knight upon the road. And the good ladder under me. Cue the wee boy, and still he stood. And the ladder for the brake. Cue the false knight upon the road. And you for toe, for down. Cue the wee boy, and still he stood. I wish you were in yon sire. Cue the false knight upon the road. And the good bottom under me. Cue the wee boy, and still he stood. And the bottom for to break. Cue the false knight upon the road. And ye be drowned, cue the wee boy, and still he stood. Now I think from that poem you can kind of gather the Scottish accent. Instead of saying stood, he wrote stewed. And it's very interesting the language within some of these very old poems, because they're not like modern English. They've got that very old feel to them. But there's a second version of this story. Let's tell it to you now. So The False Knight Upon the Road, version B. Why are you driving over my field? Said the carlin. Because the way lies over it, answered the boy, who was a little fellow. I will cut, who? Your traces, said the carlin. Yes, you who, and I'll build, answered the boy, who was a little fellow. I wish you were in the wild woods, said the carlin. Yes, you in, and I outside, answered the boy, who was a wee little fellow. I wish you were in the highest treetop, said the carlin. Yes, you are the tops, and I am the roots, answered the boy, the wee little fellow. I wish you were in the wild sea, said the carlin. Yes, you are the sea, and I am the boat, answered the boy, who was a little fellow. I'll bore a hole in your boat, said the carlin. Yes, you bore an old plug, answered the boy, who was a little fellow. I wish you were in hell, said the carlin. Yes, you in, and I outside, answered the boy, who was a little fellow. I wish you were in heaven, said the carlin. Yes, I in, and you outside, answered the boy, who was a little fellow. And again, what the term carlin means, I do not know, and I wish to know that phrase. Is it a kind of a Scottish word for night? I would love to know that answer. And again, you can tell this has been written within the Christian times, because it ends with talking about hell, and it ends with talking about heaven. And I'll give you, because things always comes in threes in life, so I'll give you one more poem from this book I am reading, called The Harpin, or The Harkin. And it's another variation, I believe, of this tale, on this story, and this poem. Harpkin gaed up to the hill, and blew his horn loud to shrill, and by came Finn. What for stand ye there, quo Finn, spying the weather, quo Harpkin? What you for had you your staff on your shoulder, shudder, quo Finn? To hand the cold fray me, quo Harpkin, little could will that hard fray you, quo Finn, as little will it win through me, quo Harpkin. I came by your door, quo Finn, it lay in your road, quo Harpkin. Your dog barked at me, quo Finn. It is used and custom, quo Harpkin. I flang a stone at him, quo Finn, I'd rather it been a bane, quo Harpkin. Your wife's lighter, quo Finn, she clin and brave the britcher, quo Harpkin. Of a brawl laid ben, quo Finn, there was the mere men of the king's wars, quo Harpkin. There was a stranger beard, quo Finn, I'd rather it been thrave, quo Harpkin. That ox has eaten it all, quo Finn. If the ox were I the water, quo Harpkin, and the water were frozen, quo Finn, and the smith, and the forehammer at its, quo Harpkin, and the smith were dead, quo Finn, and another in his steed, quo Harpkin. Gif, gaff, quo Finn. Your mole fowl a duff, a draff, quo Harpkin. The end of the third poem. And again, this is a very old Scottish poem from the Child and English Scottish Popular Ballads. And again, it's got a different language, because we have lost that language in time, because we don't talk like we live in the medieval times. We're not knights, we're not monks, and we're certainly not Christians. We're not on this channel, although I don't mind Christianity. I think it's a great good faith. But again, it goes back to those times. And it's also very similar to an Appalachian folk song, The False Night Upon the Road, which I do not know. I'd love to hear that song. And of course, the Appalachians are the mountain ranges in America, and Virginia way, I do believe, but I could be wrong on that. So that's 3 little poems I've read for you, and they're very old, and I do love a good bit of poetry. Of course, I've never had the ability to remember them, because that would just take me forever. So that is why I have read them to you on camera. But it harks back to the old days when we used to talk differently, when it was these and thous and yonder and all these wonderful medieval words which we still use in the modern sense, but we're lost in the medieval sense. So what do you think? What are your thoughts? Yes, to be a false knight upon the road makes you think, doesn't it, really? What is a false knight? Is it a knight, or is it somebody pretending to be a knight? And of course, we all associate knights with shining armour, with a big shield and a lance, riding a horse, preferably with some kind of armour as well. It kind of takes me back to King Arthur, you know, Pendragon, and the stories about him. So leave your comments, give it a thumbs up, and we'll see you in the next video. It's goodbye from Blaggy. Goodbye.